Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're delving into a topic that, well, for many of you, can literally make or break an adventure, the gear you choose.
Definitely. And we're pulling back the curtain on a pretty popular piece of kit in the photography world, the Shimoda Action X30 camera bag.
Right.
Our mission for this deep dive is basically to extract the most practical, maybe surprising, and useful insights from a real-world review. We're talking 6 months of pretty rigorous use.
Across some serious terrain too, New Zealand and Australia.
Exactly.
But yeah, forget the dry spec sheets. We're talking about how this bag actually performs, when it's truly put to the test.
In the mud, river crossings.
Intense heat, all that stuff. And even apparently some unexpected annoyances we need to talk about. So you'll get the distilled insights, helping you cut through the noise, quickly understand its real strengths, its weaknesses, and maybe decide if it's the right companion for your next trip.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this. So that initial appeal of the Shimoda Action X30, it was its promise, right? To be tough, but also nimble.
Yeah, the idea was to avoid that feeling of, lugging a travel studio around.
Okay, so what did the reviewer find? First impressions.
Well, what immediately stood out was just how comfortable it felt, even when it was fully loaded.
Really? Straight away?
Yeah. The reviewer noted it truly hugs the body, has this kind of low-profile shape, and crucially didn't sway or throw off their balance.
Ah, okay.
Which is just a huge win when you're navigating tricky terrain, like hopping over rocks or scrambling up slick trails, say, in New Zealand's Southern Alps.
That stability, yeah, that sounds incredibly important, especially with a decent amount of gear. So speaking of loads, what kind of setup was the reviewer actually carrying?
Well, in that first big test at Franz Josef Glacier, they were packing a Fujifilm GFX 100S.
Okay, so not a small camera.
No, definitely not. Plus a couple of prime lenses, a light drone, filters, tripod on the outside. A fair bit.
Right.
Now, this brings up a really critical point. Adaptability, for different body types.
Good point. How did it stack up there?
Well, other reviewers, like Maddie Hapoja and our source reviewer too, they consistently highlight the adjustable torso height, calling it a game changer.
A game changer, huh?
Yeah. For someone, the reviewer mentioned having a long torso, but not being particularly tall overall. It was the first time a camera bag didn't feel either too short, riding up, or sort of slumping down onto their hips.
Oh, I know that feeling. Yeah.
Exactly. So that proper fit, it's huge.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's not just about general comfort, it's the fit for different body shapes that really makes a difference here. Did they find any, limitations with that adjustment, or was it pretty universally good?
It genuinely seemed to impress. And this adjustability, it really just underscores a universal principle in outdoor gear, doesn't it?
Which is?
Well, that a bag isn't just about how much it can hold. If it doesn't fit your specific body mechanics, even a light load can feel heavy and awkward after a while.
True.
That proper fit, getting the weight distributed right, that prevents fatigue. And that's way more important than just cramming in one more lens sometimes.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about Shimoda's modular design. They're known for that. This bag uses their core units, right?
That's right. And the reviewer found the medium DSLR core unit fit like a glove. So the system works as intended there.
Okay, good. And how did that modularity and the bag's design overall translate into accessing the gear out in the field?
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, the access points kind of cater to different needs. The rear access, for instance, that provided a strong sense of security when traveling.
Right, like in busy spots, cities maybe?
Exactly. Like Sydney, they mentioned, keeps things secure against your back. But what really stood out for the reviewer in the field was the side access.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Tell me about that, because I saw that note too, and it sounds really practical.
It really is. Being able to just sling the bag off one shoulder, unzip the side, pull out the camera.
Without putting the bag down.
Precisely. Without having to set it down in, wet moss or mud. That's the kind of specific practical detail you don't fully appreciate until you're actually out there.
Yeah, like trying to catch first light. It's freezing cold, 7 a.m., maybe halfway up some misty ridge in Tasmania's Cradle Mountain, as the reviewer described.
Exactly that scenario just makes a difference.
But it sounds like there might be trade-offs.
Absolutely. This brings up that classic point about design trade-offs in adventure gear. The roll top, for example.
Right, the top closure.
Yeah. It adds extra space, definitely adds weatherproofing, great for stashing a rain shell or extra snacks, that kind of thing. But the reviewer found it could be a bit annoying if they were in a real rush. They sometimes wished for just a simpler zip and go option on top.
Okay, I can see that.
It just highlights that common dilemma, doesn't it? Optimizing for maximum protection and capacity often comes at the cost of, well, immediate super fast access.
Yeah,
It's a fundamental choice, really. Every photographer needs to weigh that against their own shooting style. How much urgency do you typically feel in the field?
good point. Okay, so moving on to different conditions. From New Zealand's damp chill to Australia's intense heat, that must have brought new challenges, especially around breathability.
It certainly did. And this is where real-world testing in diverse climates becomes so important. The back panel? Well, it turns out it isn't the most breathable.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The reviewer's back got absolutely soaked, was the phrase used, after just 3 or 4 hours of hiking in summer,
Wow,
particularly noted in places like the Grampians and the Blue Mountains. So that's a really crucial consideration for anyone planning longer hikes in warmer weather.
definitely. Something to keep in mind.
It's just a reminder, isn't it? A feature that performs fine in one climate might actually be a weakness in another.
Yeah, I've definitely been there myself, peeling a soggy shirt off after a summer hike.
Hmm.
But, okay, on the flip side, the hip belt was described as a dream,
Yeah.
truly taking the load, not just being sort of decorative.
Exactly.
The review mentioned an 18-kilometer loop out at Mount Kosciuszko, full camera setup, water bladder, snacks, puffer jacket, the works.
Mm-hmm.
And the reviewer's shoulders were surprisingly okay by the end.
Yeah.
So what made this hip belt apparently so good compared to others?
Well, the reviewer didn't dive into super deep technical specifics on the belt itself, but the consistent feedback points to its ability to genuinely transfer the weight onto the hips.
Where it should be.
Where it should be, exactly.
Right.
Rather than just cinching tight around the waist without really supporting anything. And that distinction is key.
Right.
So many hip belts on bags feel like an afterthought, you know? But here, it's clearly designed as an integral part of the whole load-bearing system.
Allowing for comfort, even on surprisingly long hikes with heavy gear.
That's the takeaway, yeah.
Okay, durability. This bag seems to have seen its share of abuse over those 6 months. Rained on, scraped on rock.
Jammed under bus seats, thrown into a boat, apparently.
Right. So how did it actually stand up to all that? What can we learn about its long-term toughness?
What's pretty fascinating here is how consistently well it held up. Better than expected was the verdict, given those conditions.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, the weatherproof fabric and the zippers were described as no joke. Now, it's not fully submersible, obviously.
Not a dry bag.
No. But the reviewer had zero issues with moisture creeping in, even after getting caught in a surprise, pretty heavy storm near Queenstown.
Okay.
That resilience, it really points to quality materials and solid construction. It's genuinely built for rough and tumble adventures, not just being handled carefully.
It wasn't just this one reviewer's experience, right? Didn't another YouTuber find something similar?
That's right. Chris Arawalker. He mentioned giving the bag a proper soaking in Iceland on one of his trips. Same outcome, pretty much. Confirmed it doesn't let the elements in unless you really, really push its limits, like maybe full immersion.
Good to have that confirmation.
Okay.
Okay, but no product is perfect.
Never.
And this deep dive wouldn't be complete without looking at where the Action X30 could be better. What were the main points of friction?
Well, as we touched on, that roll top isn't universally loved. It's definitely a point of personal preference. It favors capacity and weather sealing over that instant top access.
Right, the trade-off again. What else?
Digging into the details, there were some practical frustrations, like the front panel doesn't unzip fully. It only goes partway down.
Okay. And why was that an issue?
It apparently made organizing smaller accessories in those outer pockets a bit of a pain. You know, things like filters, batteries, cables.
Yeah, those little things you need to grab quickly. Sounds minor, but I can see how that would be annoying in the field.
Exactly. Another sort of nuanced detail was the tripod carry system.
How so?
The reviewer found the side straps, the ones used for a tripod, to be a bit fiddly, especially when trying to pack up quickly, maybe in the rain or when light is fading.
Okay. Those small usability things really matter when conditions aren't ideal, don't they?
They really do. When you're cold or wet or rushing, fiddly straps are the last thing you want.
And finally, it's just worth mentioning the size itself.
Yeah. While it's agile, and that's a plus for many, it's not huge.
So if you're someone who routinely carries, say, 3 lenses, a drone, maybe a change of clothes, and a laptop,
Then the reviewer suggests you should probably be looking at the larger Shimoda models, like the Action X50 or the X70.
right? It's about finding the right size tool for your specific needs and typical loadout.
Precisely.
Okay. So let's try and distill this. What does this all mean for you, the listener, maybe thinking about your next gear investment?
Well, overall, the Shimoda Action X30 clearly emerged as a real go-to choice for the reviewer. It proved itself to be agile, rugged, and genuinely photographer-focused in its design without being sort of over-engineered.
And it survived some pretty demanding conditions.
Hmm.
Fjordland mud, Tasmanian rain, that New South Wales heat.
And it's still going strong, apparently. Ready for more.
So our deep dive here strongly suggests that if you're, say, a landscape or adventure photographer, and you prioritize moving fast, staying organized,
And you need a bag that can genuinely withstand some tough conditions.
then this bag is definitely worth putting on your consideration list.
For sure. And this, I think, leads us to a final thought, maybe a question for you to consider. Knowing how critical these specific design features really are in the real world.
Like the side access, that hip belt support, the weather resistance.
Exactly. Knowing how much those mattered here, how do your own shooting style and the environments you typically find yourself in influence the unique trade-offs you're willing to make when choosing your gear?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Maybe think about what truly matters most for your specific kinds of adventures. What can you live with, and what's a deal breaker for how you work?